Hello, and welcome back to the nonsense that is this podcast. Unfortunately, I did reuse what is it called? I did reuse a intro that I frequently use on the Project Hana podcast. But guess what? It's fine to be unoriginal, and you're probably like, why would you say that? There's people who are doing original concepts every day. To a certain degree, it's not that like I'm gonna be a nihilist and be like, oh, there's nothing's original, no one can ever have an original idea ever again. Everything that's been done has already been done, because that's not true. There are so many like people who are so innovative, like just designers, creators, curators, and things like that. So, I was just kind of taking a low blow, a low dig at myself, because I feel like nothing I do is original, nothing I do is innovative, and I don't want to like sit here and this is just like a pity party for me. It's more like I just wish someone would just like tell me and be like, "Hey, like do this with your content," or like, "Hey, you know, I see you growing and stuff like that." And it's not that like I don't have like people who support me in terms of the creative endeavors I want to do. It's more along the lines that like there's no like vocal support for the things I do, that no one's like, oh, like, hey, watch this and it was good, like for Project Tonic, the podcast I do with my friend Sergio. There is a lot of support for that one, and granted, it is not just a personal project, it's like a collaborative effort between Sergio and I. Like Sergio does the PR, he gets the guests, and he does the some of the visual work, and I will do the editing and back ends of things. But it's definitely like a project of love and things, and that's what I appreciate about it, if that makes sense. And I don't know if it's just like I'm just feeling uncreative and lost and things like that, or I'm just like having a bad week. I mean, I'm literally recording this on Monday. This is gonna go live today. Also, sorry, before I get like, I know not a lot of people listen. This is a podcast anyway, but apologies for the 3 week hiatus. I just had a lot. My family and I had a lot going on behind the scenes, and so I wasn't able to do what I need to do. And also, my YouTube schedule is just all over the place. I really wanted to do 2 videos a week, but unfortunately now I'm only doing 1 video, just because with my new job, it's really, my hours aren't the best, but they're not the worst. But also, I literally feel like I'm dying towards the end of my shift, just because I'm on my feet for 8 hours, and I literally have geriatric feel, like I have to hobble to clock out at the end of my shift. So I am just trying to get back into the swing of things, and trying to take time to like edit what I want to edit, but also, like take care of my apartment, take care of my cat, make sure my fiance is fed and things like that. Because literally I'm living again in a episode of Hoarders, and it's not that like I just have too many things. It's more so that like everything gets very messy very easily, because we just kind of throw everything everywhere. And I try to like keep order, but again, it's like my fiance is also at work for like 8, 9, 10 hours a day. He doesn't want to come home and me bitch at him. And it's not that like I do bitch at him a lot, but it's more so along the lines that like I don't want to already pile on to the things that he has going on, because I know my partner best, and I know that we're both right now, our mental health isn't the strongest, and like it's like every day I just want to wake up and cry and sob, because of personal things going on, because of public things going on, just because the world is literally on fire. Like half of the country in the US, there's just a disaster. There's like so many crises going on, and I wish I could do more. Like I wish I could just have the funds, and have the gall, and have the spirit that activists do. But I can't even do that, and I don't want it to be a pity party, like again, like I said earlier. But I just don't know. Like I want to do what's within my means, but I always expect more of myself, because I feel like I can do it, because I'm me. I'm a go-getter. I want to balance all these projects. I want to do all these creative works, and I want to, grow as a person and develop as a person. But it also feels like I'm kind of setting myself up for failure, in the sense that all of my procrastination I tend to do, like this is my 3rd day off. I have 1 more day off for the week, and then I have to go back to work for 4 days in a row. And usually, like, during my, like, work week, I don't really, I try to edit some things, or I'll take, like, 2 days to edit, versus if I have a day off, I'm able to kind of knock out the editing and the description and making the thumbnail within, like, usually a 2 to 3 hour period, because it takes about an hour to look through the video and edit and gather assets if I want to like do green screen stuff, or if I want to add certain music, and then I have to do the thumbnail. But usually I try to do the thumbnail while the video is rendering. Sometimes I'll forget, but even while it's uploading, I'll do the thumbnail, and that literally only takes like 10 minutes, because I reuse the assets that were in the video, so that you kind of get an idea of what the video is about. And then I also like just find the links from my Twitter to support people's GoFundMes, and and Cash Apps and Venmos and the money mealings and things like that. And that does take a little bit of time, but it's something that I want to do. You know, if there are rich people who watch my videos and if there are rich people who listen to the podcast, go click the links and help those people, because it's like some people have had GoFundMe's going on for like a year, half a year, and they haven't even met like 10% of their goal. So if you are someone who is rich and you don't have a shit stain where your heart is, consider donating. I that's like the main thing that you can do, like just as a person in general, regardless of your background, ethnicity, or race. If you have the money to support a cause, person, and or organization, and or like building, donating and spending money on the things that you believe in is really like what makes it work, because we live in a shit stained capitalist society. So money makes the world go around, unfortunately, and that's the thing that's going to help people the most. And I know not everybody has the means to do so, which makes it a little bit harder in a sense. But there are these streaming things, the videos on YouTube that you can stream and watch to support those countries that are in those crises. And they're all, you know, petitions to sign. Granted, some petitions don't do much, but some, you know, they can make a difference. And so I never want to say like, oh, is just doing X, Y, and Z isn't going to be enough, because us just trying to spread the word about the movement and, you know, trying to gather people to donate, I feel like it's enough. But again, you know, there's always going to be people who go the extra mile and do the extra thing and, you know, are doing the groundwork and laying the foundational work so that these movements can get off of the ground, which I appreciate, because I don't think I could do that, or that I could be a part of it, but not be a part of like the face of running everything, because I tried to do that once in college and it fell flat on my face because I just had too many things going on. And that's what sucks too, is that in college there's so many different things to do. And I also feel for the students who are going to university and who are just going to high school in general right now, because online learning is it's not the way that everyone is meant to learn. And I say this only because I had to take 3 online courses, but the 2 that I took, you basically just did a module, you did the assignment, and then that was it. And you had to do that for like 30 subjects in the entirety of the class, and that was for 2 courses. But the other third class I had, we had to meet in Zoom. And that was like in 2018 or 2017, I believe. And that was the first time I've ever heard of Zoom. I thought we were going to do like Skype or something like that, because, I mean, Skype was Zoom before Zoom even existed. And then Zoom also is not the most secure, whereas Skype is secure. Discord, I'm not 100% sure about that, just in terms of like video calling platforms. But I don't know. I the one thing that just bothered me with Zoom is that there were so many like YouTubers and so many other just like weird content creators that were like, haha, going into my viewer's Zoom class. It's like, you're disrupting this professor who doesn't even, or like this teacher who doesn't even know what the fuck is going on. Like, how do you feel good about ruining students' learning experiences? Granted, some students, you know, they're not paying attention anyway in the class. They're going to have to teach themselves. But that's what sucks more, is that, I mean, in terms of public school, you know, you're not really paying anybody. Like, you know, it's coming out of a lot of people's taxes. So they're paying for, like, you know, the kids go to school and things like that. In a sense, that's not like private. Whereas private, you know, the parents pay a fee, like an annual fee, and like a big, like, what is it called? An entrance fee, an admission fee for their kid to go there, which is a lot more expensive. But, you know, those kids get they have a endless amount of resources, the rich kids. Anyway, what the fuck was I saying? When you are taking online classes in university and you don't have like the lectures to look through, you just get the material, half of the time, or basically 90% of the time, you're teaching yourself, and most of the professor who's doing the online course is typically pretty busy. Just from my personal experience, and then you're basically paying like $2,000 up to even more expensive to kind of teach yourself, and it is a pain in the ass, but I think it's kind of easier. But again, it kind of just circles back to, not everyone is meant to or has the means to teach themselves, or to like learn about the thing in their own capacity. And I mean that in a way that everybody's learning style is different. You know, there are those like 4 learning styles where it's like, you're a visual learner, you're a kinesthetic learner, which means you have to like do it yourself, a physical learner, so like it's you doing it and then you doing it with you like learning the task with your teacher or professor. And then there's another one where all you have to do is listen, I think, and then like it like works and it clicks in your brain and you're like, oh shit, this is how I do it. So everybody learns differently. And even then, I don't even think those are like the four, like those, granted, those are four major learning styles, but that's not the way that everyone learns, if that makes sense. Like there are students who have, autism, there are students who have ADD, there are students who have depression, anxiety. They are not going to be all at the same level only because they are all learning different. Maybe they have personal things going on behind the scenes. Maybe, their family is super low income and so they can't even focus because they're so hungry. They can't even focus because they're so worried, they have to go to their job or they have to help out their parents in their business and things like that. It's really, I really think the public school system is just letting down students because they seem to believe that every student works the same way. And that's not how it is at all. Every student, and even just every person and every child in their way of learning is unique in themselves. And I don't think it's fair to just have like a blanket, like, oh, you need to learn this way. And what's also interesting too is that a lot more parents who work from home, who are full-time like homemakers, they are learning that, the public school they're sending their kids to, their babies to, isn't always the kindest at all. Because what I remember reading on Twitter that this one person, they were listening in on their kids' class, they were like just doing the house chores or whatever, and the teacher, the parent's child, the student, was trying to get a charger to like charge a laptop because, they literally have to sit from 8 to 3 p.m., which is a long time to sit just like as an adult. That sucks. And as a child, I cannot imagine because, you're just looking at a screen. You're just looking at a laptop. You're not being engaged. You're not doing something physical. It's a lot harder, I feel. And, some people have those resources in place. Like there was one mom who did an entire like learning nook. Like she had blankets and she had snacks and she had a bunch of posters that had like ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, multiplication, things like that. And and that's great and that's wonderful for that student, but not every parent has the means to do so. And that's what's kind of unfortunate about it, is going back to what with that mom being home and the student trying to, put the laptop in, the teacher snapped at them and she's like, turn your back around, da, 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 da. And she was just being very rude to the child. And it's like, dude, these kids are at home. You can't control a child in their home setting unless you are, their parent or their guardian. Even though we shouldn't be controlling them, we should be guiding them. And I just think it's super insidious and fucked up how these teachers, like, it's not that like most of them feed on some weird sick power leveling thing. Don't be mad at a kid when they're in their own home. Like I get everyone is under stress. Everyone's under intense stress. And I completely understand that. But you have to remember, you're teaching children. You are teaching babies. You are teaching the literally the future. And you're already pre-processing them into doing these things that aren't going to be the healthiest or the best for them. Anyway, like I was trying to say before I was interrupted by my fiance, who just called me and we talked about a myriad of things. I don't remember what I was saying. Basically, because I don't edit this, so I don't even know what the fuck I was talking about. God, something about students. Oh yeah, so I believe that like some teachers, and I don't know if it's necessarily like the teachers who go to prestigious universities and then try to work at low income like public schools, and I don't know if it's like because they get jaded, but a lot of them just like to be crass and to like harshly criticize and try to like quote unquote punish or like correct students, but like you're not even their parent or their guardian. It's not up to you to try to correct or make a student act the way that you want them to act, because children are all unique and different. I don't think they should be reprimanded for just being themselves, or for asking a question, or for fucking getting a charger in their own home. And what's more like fucked up too is that students have to wear uniforms. Like I know like my baby cousin, she is in her last year of high school and she's doing online learning. And although it's not the way that she learns typically, she's trying her hardest to like study more and to get everything done that she needs to get done. But they don't have to wear uniform to fucking Zoom classes. And it's so stupid. It's like, why are you making these little babies, literally like third graders, kindergartners, pre-K, wear uniforms? It's so, I don't know about y'all, but like when you wear your uniform to work, like if it's a service job and it's just like uncomfy, that's the feeling that these kids probably have during all the 8 hours. And they're in their own home. Why would you make these babies do that in their own home? And also, it's so stupid too. Like you can't even go to the restroom in your own home, and I don't get that. Like we're not robots. We're not meant to just like sit, stay. Like we're not dogs, and even then, dogs are, so, granted, some of the breeders are smarter, some of them not. The dogs, they're not all obedient. Not all dogs are the same, and it is under the same vein. Not all children are the same. They're not going to want to just sit. Some of them are going to fidget. Whatever underlying mental health conditions or whatever conditions that these babies have, that's going to affect the way they learn. It just doesn't make sense. I really just wish that we can all just take the rest of the year off. Fuck it. No work, no school, no job. Everybody just stay home and vibe and become better people, and I feel like it would put so much less stress on the children and on the teachers as well, because I literally knew, like I mentioned this, I think in the Project Tonic podcast, but some students, especially because Texas, I believe public Texas school teachers aren't able to unionize because of Texas's anti-union laws or something like that. I'm not 100% sure about it. But that because they had to go back to school and they were teaching in-person classes in some of these larger public schools, that some of them had to start writing their wills, and because they were I have to do what's for the best, because even their insurance was saying, write a fucking will. You're kind of on your own in that situation, which is fucking insane. Imagine just you're forced to go to school as a teenager nowadays, and it's and I know some of these teenagers, they're super smart, they're super apt, they know how to do everything for the most part. Just imagine go and you're just trying to go to classes and your professor or your teacher just I don't even it's just so fucking insane. Not that they pass away one day, but that just if you are on Twitter and you were you happen to be Mr. So-and-so student, and you see that they had to write their will because they had to teach you or something, or because the school district is forcing them to go to school and teach you. It's just I cannot imagine what that student would go through, just the guilt and the just the internal feelings and stuff like that. I just don't understand. And I understand to a certain degree about all these things in place, that the taxes and the way the world works and the way systems are in place, but none of them are meant to protect any of the people that they serve, which I don't understand. It's the government should serve the people, and right now it's not even servicing the people, it's servicing the rich fucks. It's just very obtuse, and it's very blatant that the government favors those in the higher tax brackets, and I just don't understand, and I don't appreciate it, and I wish that there were better systems in place to actually help the people who need it, because even now there are so many people who haven't even gotten their stimulus checks yet. It's fucking ridiculous. I am just over it, and I'm just done with this year, and this year has been the worst year of my life, and I'm just wishing and praying and hoping that good things happen soon, publicly or privately, or however things as they go, because we need some good news. Everybody needs some good news. And it just seems like everything is getting darker and worser and scarier. And who even knows if a majority of us will survive the rest of this year. And also there's a quote-unquote vaccine. And that vaccine, I was reading something about it this morning, actually, that apparently it takes about 10 years approximately, to be approved by the FDA and CDC, and going through rigorous testing and learning with the virus and the strain that comes through, to make and put into place a vaccine that will actually help and not kill people. Because there was something earlier going on that they were experimenting on trying to do a polio vaccine. And who is they? I mean doctors or whatever the fuck organization that does the vaccines, which I believe is the FDA approves them because it's being administered to people. But that's just what that I also just learned that the FDA also has to approve vaccines and things like that. So with the polio vaccine, they in the beginning of in the beginning of polio taking over and killing people, I assume because it is a disease or disorder, disease. They were testing a vaccine. However, they hadn't gone through the rigorous testings, and they hadn't really studied polio to its fullest extent, and it ended up being an oral vaccine, and people ended up getting mouth rot or just passing away in general because they hadn't done the testing to this fullest extent that they possibly could have. And I believe this, and I feel generally, oh my god, my cat is just being a little shithead, sorry. I believe to the fullest extent that right now our government is not my cat's just running around like a little maniac man right now. Anyways, I believe to the fullest extent right now that this COVID vaccine is definitely probably not the safest, and I am not anti-vaxxer by any means. I recommend everybody because those are put into place to prevent and have been studied and have been tested on for years and years and years and years, and they're proven to work, and those will protect us, protect our babies, because herd immunity can only go so far, especially if there are people trying to be anti-masks, or anti-hand sanitizer, or they want to have these freedoms in place, but they're not doing the work to they're not doing the work to for everyone to have their freedoms. Like right now, a lot of other Asian and European countries lightened up on the masks and things like that, only because their COVID cases are literally like zero, and everybody who has had it either unfortunately passed away or they have recovered. But with the COVID vaccine, it seems more so like they're trying to just push this on everybody, and I don't know who's getting tested with it first, because I know I believe Russia has a vaccine that they're trying to push on a like poor country to test them on, which is really unethical and insidious in itself. But yeah, I am not anti-vaxxer, but I probably will not be getting the COVID vaccine. I am terrified that it's probably just going to be some cheap chemical judge to just kill poor people. And as much as a conspiracy theory that sounds, again and again, the American government has put things in place that are harmful to poor people that kills them. So unfortunately, again, this was a bit of a heavier episode, and I apologize for not being as positive as I could be. But this is just where I talk and I rant and I share things with you all, and I hope that regardless of your situation going on, that things do get better for you, and that you have enough to pay your bills, and that you never go hungry and things like that. So again, thank you for listening and for watching. This is on my YouTube channel. Take what I say with a grain of salt, because again, I am not the end all be all to any of the things. Do your research on your own. Learn, and always be open to certain things. Granted, some people are not gonna be that way, and if you want to argue with me, argue with your mama, because I don't have time. But yeah, again, thank you for listening and for watching, and I will see you in the next one.